Hey, Brian Osborne here from Answers in Genesis, and I'm talking to you from Houston. And this is 2019 at the current time. And I just finished up with some friends of mine, some fellow ministry partners in other places, the NEA here in Houston 2019. And we've been really blessed to partner with a really great group of people to have a booth set up here at NEA, the National Educators Association. And at the booth, what we do is we distribute resources to the teachers. We have someone who's actually paid for the resources, donated them to the booth, and we give the resources out to the teachers here at NEA as a way to just kind of connect with them, be a blessing to them, and also share truth and the gospel. And it's a really interesting thing to do, especially for myself. As a speaker for Answers in Genesis, typically I'm speaking at churches and at Christian conferences and so forth, usually to friendly audiences. But guys, here at the NEA, it's anything but friendly. They are, as a whole, the NEA is one of the largest unions, actually the largest union in the States. And as a whole, they are very leftist or liberal in their ideology, very anti-biblical. They are patently against any teaching of creation. They're fully for evolution, and their bylaws against homeschooling, against the traditional understanding of marriage, in full support of gay marriage, so-called, and transgenderism and so forth. And so the whole atmosphere is very anti-biblical. And you really do, it's kind of a unique feeling for me in a lot of senses to come and kind of share with people in a place where it's pretty hostile for the most part. Now, there are people who are happy we're here. And let me just say, there are many wonderful teachers across the states. I taught in the public schools for 13 years, and so did my wife. And we've got some great people in those schools who are great teachers and they love the Lord, and they're not really aware of the NEA or don't really connect to it. But here at the summertime meeting where they do all the voting with the delegates from states and schools around this country, and the ideology that's pushed, it is very, very anti-biblical. It's a hostile place to be. And I say all that to connect to the lesson we're looking at, which is Daniel and the lion's den. Of course, in Daniel chapter 5, you have the handwriting on the wall, and then Belshazzar's disposed as king, and then Darius the Mede comes in, takes over the kingdom from there, and he's king over the area. And Daniel, as is typically done so often, he rises the ranks of leadership because of the spirit about him, the wisdom, his love for the Lord, and how well he did his job, most likely. He's appointed to a high place of leadership. And so much so that other people were jealous of him. And they did not want him to get the highest position of leadership underneath the king. And so they wanted to find something to accuse him of. And they tried and they couldn't. And it kind of reminds me actually of here, because there have been many times where the Creation Science Caucus, which is who we partner with to bring the resources, they've been attacked by people who don't like the fact this caucus is here teaching the biblical view of origins and a biblical authority message. And so they have tried many times to get the caucus removed from the whole convention. And so they've done so sometimes honestly and sometimes in a sleight of hand sort of way, but it happens. And it's just because darkness doesn't like light. In a similar way, the people that were under Daniel didn't like Daniel being there. They wanted him out. They couldn't find anything to accuse him of. So of course they convinced the king to make a rule that you can't pray to anybody other than him for the next 30 days. And he does, and then lo and behold, Daniel does what he always does, which is he prays. And then of course they tell the king, Daniel's praying, you said not to, he's gonna be thrown into a lion's den. And you know how it all goes down. You see more details in the lesson. And of course he's thrown in a lion's den. And I just drawing a correlation here, truly it feels like we're kind of in the lion's den here. All right, it's in a hostile environment. But you know what? Just as God was faithful to Daniel in the lion's den, God's been faithful to us here. And my encouragement to you is wherever you're at, whatever culture you live in, but if you live in a culture that's either very secular, anti-Christian, becoming more so every day, recognize we can trust God. He'll provide for our needs. He'll protect us from the dangers that are around us. Just stand firm, and He'll use that situation for His glory one way or another. We can trust that. And so in that account, of course, Daniel trusts the Lord. He's thrown in the lion's den. God preserves him in that. God's preserved us here. We've been here for 19 years, I believe. We praise God for that and pray for many more. But no matter where you're at, whether you find yourself in a literal lion's den like Daniel or in a figurative one like here at the NEA, bottom line is trust God. He will provide for your needs. He will glorify His name. We're just called to be obedient no matter where we're put. So hope that's encouraging to you guys. We've had a great time here. Looking forward to many good years, Lord willing, of more ministry here at the NEA. You guys have a blessed day.